I told you at the beginning of the program, I got an extremely kind note from the lieutenant governor of the great state of Texas. One of the things I was most proud of in my travels over the years is I became an honorary Texan years ago, thanks to the great governor down in Texas. Oh, and by the way, I think they have an $8.8 billion surplus down there. And that would be Governor Rick Perry, who actually is, I think you're in Switzerland today, right?
Yeah, that's correct. We're selling Texas around the globe, but Switzerland happens to be the winning place today.
Now, Governor, I'm obviously a man that's not wanted in the state that I was born in anymore, and my wife and I, we made a decision that as soon as we are able, we're going to move. And there are two states on my list, Texas and Florida. And
you got two good choices there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, what was your reaction when you heard that? Because I know you work hard. I have no doubt you're probably in Switzerland, probably trying to drum up business and get business to move to Texas. Am I wrong?
You're spot on right. We've had some great meetings today with businesses both that do a substantial amount of work in the United States and globally. So, and they really understand one of the messages we heard here over the course of the last 24 hours is that creating jobs, not just in New York, not just in Texas, certainly not just in Florida, but around the world, that is the real issue for the world economy. And nobody's done it better than Texas. And I challenge anybody to stand up and have a legitimate debate about the job creation. 27% of all the jobs created in the last 10 years have been created in the state of Texas. And it doesn't happen by accident. We put good tax policy, regulatory policy that doesn't restrict the growth of businesses, and tort reform that doesn't allow for oversuing. We got a skilled workforce, and people are voting with their feet, Sean, just like you and your wife are going to do. You're going to make a decision to go live where, number one, you get to keep more of what you work for, and secondly, you want to live where you feel like you're wanted. And trust me, when you come to Texas, you can get rid of that honorary Texan certificate and just make yourself a permanent one.
Well, Governor, I want you to know something. In my radio studio, I have that proclamation you gave me framed. And I look at it, and I see that proclamation every day that you signed, which I'm really proud of. You know what? Everybody I've ever met from Texas, I love. I think Texans are the coolest people. I mean, I would be humbled and honored if I could become a Texan. I've got to give you credit. I've been doing some research. You have a budget surplus at the start of 2013, at least you had, of $8.8 billion. Is that right?
Right. It's projected to be up close to $12 billion by the time they get back into legislative session in January of 2015.
Yeah.
So, I'll be the governor for about the first half of January of 2015. And then my good friend Greg Abbott's going to be taking over the reins. But he'll take over the reins of a state that has been absolutely well run. Lieutenant Governor Dewhurst and Speaker Strauss. I mean, we've done some really good things together with the members of the legislature because they understand that people want to live free. And that's the real key, I think, to Texas. And the reason so many people have moved out of California and these other high-tax, high-regulatory states is they want to be free from, overtaxation, over-regulation, over-litigation, and they know that if they move to Texas, they're going to have a skilled workforce because we've invested in our public schools. And again, the proof's in the pudding, Sean. The key is that people are voting with their feet. They're picking up and leaving these high-tax, high-regulatory states. And in your case, you want to live somewhere where, you're appreciated for what you do, which is create a lot of wealth. And the governor of New York certainly doesn't appreciate, I guess, people that add wealth to their state, but they, in particular, they make people feel unwelcome. And that's one of the things that the old motto about Texas being the friendship state, it shows through in how we treat people. And you certainly know you're welcome, and you'll be treated like a true friend when you get there.
I'm really, really appreciative, and I really mean this. This is not a radio bit. I am stunned that the state I grew up in doesn't want me because of my political beliefs that have been deeply held and developed throughout my entire life. And I've had the benefit, Governor, of traveling around this country quite a bit And I was just down in Midland, Texas, where your unemployment rate down there is 2.6%. And it is an oil boom that's going on now, which is Texas now is the 10th largest producing, if it were a country, it would be the 10th largest producing country in the entire world in terms of energy production. And I think you know what a big proponent of energy production I am. Living in New York, Governor, I pay almost 10% in state income taxes. I work in New York City, so I pay a city tax. I live in the second highest county, property taxed county in the country, the county I grew up in, Nassau County. If I told you what I paid in property taxes, it would shock you to your inner being how ridiculous it is. And so my wife and I have made this decision. I can't. It's not something I can do immediately tomorrow, next week, or this year. But it is definitely, I'm leaving. I'm getting out, and I urge all my friends, look at Texas, because everybody I know down there, I love. I've met the nicest people in my life in your state, and I'm proudly pro-life, and I would be accepted for that view. I have had a licensed carry permit my entire adult life. In New York, this governor said I could only put 7 bullets in my gun because nobody needs 10 bullets to kill a deer, as he says.
It's simple. No one hunts with an assault rifle. No one needs 10 bullets to kill a deer.
Has no understanding of what self-defense is. And for all those years that I've had a carry permit, Governor, I've never, God willing, never had to use it. But it is my Second Amendment right, and I know the people of Texas feel the same way.
Well, absolutely. And obviously, I guess the governor is just playing to a political base. But, we have a lot of different viewpoints in the state of Texas. And the fact of the matter is people are welcome to have them and to live in that state. But they've chosen to live there, and they've chosen to live there by and large because it is a place that makes people feel comfortable. It is a place that you get to keep more of what you work for. And whether you're a liberal or you're a staunch conservative.
By the way, plenty of liberals live in Austin.
Keeping more of what you work for is a really good thing.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? It's good for, the infrastructure, the roads. Every time you cross a bridge to get into New York, it's $15 now. Can you believe this? It's just unbelievable. Yeah. And I'm like, well, where does the 10% of my income go? And on top, Governor, I'm paying between state, local, federal, county taxes. I am paying over 60 cents out of every dollar I make is going to government. I mean,
John, there's an attitude out there that I think is not particularly healthy for this country. When elected officials basically say, if you don't like it here, hit the road, and we're going to continue to raise taxes, we're going to continue to make the regulatory climate more onerous, we're going to continue to make it, easier to sue, all of these things that make it more difficult for people to keep more of what they work for. And the attitude is that you'll never leave our state because our state is so beautiful, or you'll never leave our state because we got great museums and a wonderful cultural life. That's not right. And I think it's a conversation that Americans, again, left or right, need to have with their elected officials. That listen, we work for the people. It's not the other way around. And the people of a state need to be able to send a clear message that here's how we want to live. Here, you know what? And there may be more people in New York that line up with Governor Cuomo than line up with you. I don't know that. But the beauty of our founding fathers were that you can go and live in a place where you're more comfortable. And that's why the 10th Amendment is so important to this country. And that's
Absolutely.
One of the reasons that I don't think Washington needs to be making one-size-fits-all policies, whether it's on health care or otherwise. Let the states make those decisions. Then the people of this country will figure out rather quickly where they want to live, who they want to be around, what type of a government that they want to have. So one thing they have to keep in mind, though, is when they treat people like you the way you're being treated, you can pick up and leave, and you can take a substantial amount of wealth with you when you leave. And that's a decision that the folks over in Albany are going to have to decide. But I can promise you, in Austin, Texas, we made that decision, and we want you to feel comfortable in Texas. We want you to know you can grow your business there. We want you to know that you can raise your family and feel safe there, and that Texas is a place that wants you.
Governor, I can't thank you and your lieutenant governor enough for your kind words and your invitation. And I know it's not just for me, but I know, we're on 535 stations around the country, and I know people that are in these high-tax states like I am, they're going to make these decisions themselves on their own. And you know what? I really, really appreciate being wanted. I kind of feel homeless today.
Well, let's just leave it in the words of Lyle Lovett. He said, "That's right. You're not from Texas, but Texas wants you anyway."
Thank you, Governor. And I know you've been busy. I appreciate it, and I'm gonna make a special trip down there.
God bless you, brother. Take care of yourself.
Hey, you got to run for president. We want you to get back in. Run for president.
All right, we'll give that some consideration. We got to finish
Thanks.
up this last year we've got in office, and hopefully we'll have it in great shape when you move to Texas.